To go. Run him. Stay on. That him, boys. Angela, that's a sack on the ball. Good job.
Take me back into another time when we were still in love, a different life. It's a different
All
life.
right, welcome everybody to the Brothers Blitz podcast.
Now that we're done crying over the Super Bowl.
Podcast.
Doing our best Ralph Wiggum impressions today.
Yeah, I'm fully operational. Thanks for joining us. We are finally back. We are here. Now that we've gotten over our Super Bowl depression. We still have our regular depressions, just so you know.
Yeah.
We got over the Super Bowl one. And we are coming into the draft.
Woo!
I've heard about it anyway. Apparently, it's a biggish deal for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think there's some quarterbacks that are going to be taken. That's what I hear. Anyways.
I don't know much about that position, but
apparently it's important.
I'll fake it.
Okay.
And I think here, folks, that that's not really a sentence that I'm saying, but let me. I forgot to put it in my headphones, so hold on. I'm going to do that real quick.
Well, there's some riveting content we got going on right now.
Very fascinating. There we go. It's a little behind the scenes for everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. I like to look more official.
I was going to say, now you look more professional. Good job.
So we have a fun idea for our podcast here today because there's so many mock drafts, right? Everybody's got mock drafts, and we could do a mock draft, but guess what? We're not connected to football teams, as you might have been led to believe. We don't have, Adam Schefter's connections.
Nope, nor Bill Barnwell.
No, we don't regularly get to talk to coaches and GMs and NFL scouts. So if you want to talk to us, just contact us. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're open. It's not our fault.
Yeah,
we're available.
You're the ones not reaching out. We've made it clear that we would love to talk to them.
Yeah,
if they want to.
Exactly. This is on them. The ball's in their court,
exactly.
On their field, on their AstroTurf, getting injured.
Yeah, right.
But so what we thought would be more fun, is since we're more connected to the everyday people, is that we are going to do the first half of the draft. So we're going to do the first 16 picks. And we're gonna kind of call it, I don't know, should we call it the bar guy draft?
Yeah, bar. And so to shed some light on that, I one of my tasks over leading up to this was just jotting down and remembering little anecdotes I've heard from various places, bars I frequent, and stuff I've talked to with guests at the job that I work at, and even stuff that I've heard from some coworkers, which last night I heard a doozy about what he thinks the 49ers are going to do. And we'll get into that because I just started laughing. And another 49ers fan that we also work with he just dead ass stopped and goes, "Are you fucking high, man?"
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, because we're not doing that whole thing, but we're not going all the way through. But it's fun to hear any extra anecdotes we have for any of the other picks. Yeah, but we didn't want to. It would be pretty difficult to hear anecdotes about all, 32 teams.
Yeah, because in little old Harrisonburg, Virginia, there's not a lot of Charger fans around here.
Yeah. So there are some of the first 16. We're also going to fill in with some research that I did internet wise from what I could get from a fan assessment from people online as well. But it's still kind of that idea, that kind of just regular person in the bar had an opinion and they're like, this is who I think, and especially the people who do it in that confident way. Like, I figured I could be a GM. I know what we should do.
Yeah.
That kind of a guy. And you're just like, what?
Yeah, he thought he
What?
was a genius. So let's just jump right in then with that number 1 pick. Do you want to go ahead?
So this is gonna be great. For one, because this is gonna be bonkers, folks. So do not take any of this seriously. Well, you
No.
can, but that would be stupid.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna get mad at this, I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah.
You should talk to
That's
somebody.
really your fault
Yeah,
at that point.
you should talk to somebody if you're getting
Yeah,
mad at this,
correct.
because we're not serious about this. This is just what we hear. So I guess you can kind of be mad at these people that we've gathered this
Or
information from.
yeah, or feel free to call them idiots because,
Yeah.
well, a few of them I heard are complete idiots.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So we'll start with Fox here, because Fox, you had a great one that you heard from. This was at Buffalo Wild Wings, right?
It was, yeah. It was right as March Madness started, I think, something like that. But it was like 4 or 5 of us just generally talking at the bar about the draft coming up and all that. You know, I mentioned that for me personally, the 49ers need an offensive lineman and a defensive back
Sure.
more than anything. Anyways, this fella is convinced that Drake May is going to the Bears. He is convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt. The Caleb Williams talk is all talk.
Yes.
According to him,
All
it's
talk.
According to him, it's the Bears throwing everybody off, and they are going to take Drake May. He's actually going to be their savior and bring them to the Super Bowl.
But why?
And
Why do they need to throw people off? They have
I
the
don't
first
know.
pick.
I don't know.
Who's jumping ahead of them?
I don't know.
Who has pick 0.5?
I don't know. I don't know, but he is convinced that it's all the Caleb Williams stuff is all a smoke screen, so then the Bears are going to take Drake May. So
There you go. That makes see, folks. You can't only get this here. That's what's gonna happen.
Drake May is off the board after 1 pick.
Drake May, shocker to the world, because the Bears think they're getting some sort of competitive edge before
By
the season even
screening,
starts.
right.
Everybody's planning on us having Caleb Williams, so they're already apparently game planning against us. So
we're going to throw a wrench in their
Yeah,
plans and draft Drake May,
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah, now they're gonna have to change their whole plan, even though they just started its spring voluntary workouts.
Right. That was,
Obviously, the coaches
wild.
have been talking about how are we going to defend Caleb Williams on the Bears
Yeah.
already.
That one just made me stop. I was just like, why? But why do you think that?
Yeah. So
That was a good one.
Guy in B Dubs.
Guy in B-dubs,
the
he knows.
inside track. The inside track.
Yeah. He obviously has way more information than even all the scouts
Yeah.
do, or even all the writers do at ESPN and NFL and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he knows.
Take that.
All of them are wrong.
Take
He is right.
that. Drake May number 1. I mean, that's a huge surprise. Well, coming in, I would say at number 2 for this. I mean, this would just make the most sense to me, because from what we hear, and this is from a real NFL source,
Mhm.
we've heard that JJ McCarthy is the best quarterback in the draft.
I've heard that.
Yes. I mean, guy who you could find yourself hanging out in a bar with, Jim Harbaugh. I mean,
Yeah.
huge NFL scout.
Right.
I mean, he's
No
now
bias
coaching.
whatsoever.
So it makes sense for me. I should say that the Commanders are gonna take JJ McCarthy at the number 2, because in that way it's still a steal. He should have been number
Well,
1. So
he
for
should have
them,
been.
they're like,
Yeah.
we're getting the best quarterback in this draft.
Because his completely not biased coach said that he's the best quarterback in the draft. So obviously he can't be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, why would he lie?
That's crazy.
Why would he
Well,
lie?
maybe the Bears will do a double switch and pick JJ McCarthy first.
Oh, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows?
They're already smoke screening to get Drake May.
It's
So
possible that especially once they heard Harbaugh's analysis,
right.
you know, they could be rethinking.
This is some riveting shit.
But for now, we'll say Drake May number 1. I think, unless if you heard anything else on the Commanders. about what they should do.
Well, Jane Daniels seems to be going
Well, I mean, that's probably another smokescreen though.
probably,
If that's a
probably.
consensus thing,
Right,
this
because
is
they're probably in the know that Caleb Williams is actually going to be available, so
Yeah.
they're going to be like, "Oh, we're going to take Jaden Daniels." Take him.
but I actually do wonder on the fan side, since you're in Virginia, I don't
Yeah.
know, like, is that actually seeming like what fans actually want though? Is the Jaden Daniels side?
It's been a little bit split. I'm good friends with a huge Commanders fan, like, and he's on the, like, we can draft quarterbacks all the live long day, but until we can block for these guys, it's pointless to draft a quarterback because we're going to run into the same problems every single year. So he wants to trade down and stock up picks to build up the offensive line. That's what he wants them to do. But then the other half I have spoken to that I've even heard and all that, they still want a quarterback as well.
Yeah,
it's pretty split.
So it's kind of tough because I hear that people keep saying that with the Patriots. It's like, oh, Patriots should trade back. They're just not in a position. But it's hard because I'm like, I understand what people are saying. And this is like even big time people are saying that kind of a thing. It's just like,
Yeah.
they're not in a place to develop a quarterback and stuff. But it's like at the same time, it's like, but it's the most important position.
Right.
So it's like sometimes, and it's like, and I feel like it's funny that they keep saying that with the Patriots because it's like, but the Patriots did sign Jacoby Brissett, so they obviously had an idea to me of like, yeah, what if we really like somebody at 3, and what if they're not in the best position yet, or like what if we don't get
Right.
all the stuff that we want to do because like maybe we don't get the right wide receivers or like whatever. But most of the Patriots one, see, the Commanders argument to me makes more sense because the bigger thing that people talk about with the Patriots is like their lack of weapons. It's like, okay, but if you're getting the right guy and you get the right system, as long as he has time to throw and go through the reads, if it doesn't turn out that the guy's open and he has nobody to throw to, that stinks. But like what seems to be harder on the quarterback is not necessarily that the people aren't open, it's that they don't have time to go through their reads and they develop bad habits because their offensive line is so bad
Right.
that they're, but this is why I think Jaden Daniels has been a bigger idea for the Commanders is because of his movement ability. So it's like the offensive line isn't there, but he already knows how to run around.
Right. Whereas Sam Howell he doesn't really have a whole lot of mobility, and Heineke had some mobility, but not a lot.
Yeah. But to me, it's like if you've got a chance to get a possible franchise quarterback, I think you just got to do it. It's just like you're only picking in that. You're probably picking in that spot because, of course, you need more team. You need more players. It's just like,
right.
What can you do? But also, when you're that high, this is usually your best chance to get a quality quarterback.
Right. It's finding quarterbacks beyond the first and second round that are going to stick around is not often that you find that.
It's not bad to pick guys in those places, but usually it's a good idea to pick those guys when you don't necessarily need them.
Right.
When you've got a pretty good option,
right.
You've got a solid starter and you're like, hey, let's just take a flyer on this guy and we'll see what happens. We like him, obviously I'm sure they like him, but but anyway, but I think for this exercise, it makes sense to go with the ultimate guy in bar, Jim Harbaugh, and have JJ McCarthy
go second. Yeah.
Now
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, now this leaves the door open, which would make Patriots fans very happy to pick Caleb Williams.
Right. That's what I was about to say. Now Caleb Williams is available
at number 3 because I'm assuming from what I get from a lot of Patriots fans, it is a little bit like they want a quarterback, but they are also seem to be more in the realm of like, I'm okay trading.
Yeah, I also have another close friend who's he's big boss and everything because he's from up there, but he's also like he wants a quarterback, but also he kind of wants a whole restart on the offense, like build that offensive line, get weapons, and then when we're ready, get that quarterback because he's thinking like 2 or 3 years down the road because he was like, even if we get a quarterback that improves our play, the Bills and Dolphins are still ahead of us, and we're not going to get over them. Yeah. Even if we have a decent quarterback with the team we have and the lack of weapons and all that.
But I think
I can
if
see
you
that side, but also like he's the same way of like, God, we need a quarterback though.
I think in this scenario then, yeah. So I think if you told them like, hey, by the way, Caleb Williams is
Williams is
suddenly
available. Yeah,
available.
Caleb Williams is gone. Yeah,
I think they would actually jump on it. So we'll be kind to the Patriots. Not that they need it; they've had plenty of success in their lives. But
right.
but being that there's that one doesn't. I've got a wild one for 4, by the way, for
Ooh,
Arizona. But
ready.
yeah. So I think so. This seems like a pretty big win for the Patriots.
For the Patriots, yeah.
How many pissed off people would there be if something like that happened?
Caleb Williams somehow ends up first and JJ McCarthy second, leaving Caleb Williams and the Patriots.
Yeah, Caleb Williams is somehow available for the Patriots. It's just like that's when conspiracy theories would actually come out, and I think I might have to entertain them at that point. I would be like, I mean, I'm not normally that guy, but that's crazy. That's something,
right? And then if that actually shook out, I'd have to go back to that guy at beat ups and be like, "Yo, what the hell do you know?"
Yeah, right. Yeah. What the f, man? Yeah, that would be crazy. So of course, most people are projecting either a trade out or Marvin Harrison Jr. for Arizona.
For Arizona, yeah.
I, however, have met an Arizona Cardinals fan.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
And
I didn't know there was more than one.
Yeah. Well, I met one. I don't know if there's more than one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I could have met the one.
Yeah, that's true.
But he is convinced, well, not convinced that they will, but is convinced that they should draft Bo Nix.
What?
Number 4 overall.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because, one, look at his stats. All right? That was number 1 argument. Look at the stats.
That's his argument.
Yeah, and if they don't draft a game-changing quarterback like a Bo Nix,
right?
They're just going to keep losing. So I don't know what the plan is for Kyler Murray.
I was going to say, never mind the fact that Kyler Murray was actually still playing well.
I guess
before he got hurt.
I guess trading him. And getting some things for him. But so that's gonna another real shocker. So quarterbacks do go 1, 2, 3, 4, which some places are projecting. But I don't think it's 1, definitely not the order. And now with Bo Nix, definitely not the quarterbacks that were thought to go in the top 4 here.
Bo Nix,
I know.
You go in the first round?
Yeah, first round, 4th overall to the team that doesn't need a quarterback. So,
which would be great which would be wild because then Marvin Harrison would fall to the Chargers at number 5, and they're going to need young wide receivers because Keenan Allen and Mike Williams aren't exactly young.
Well, here's the thing, though. So I had to do some scouring of internet for this, but I found it very surprising. I mean, not that this is a bad player, but there is no expert who's thinking this. But there are a lot, and I looked through multiple things for this. But there seem to be a lot of Chargers fans that think that they should pick Brock Bowers, the tight end, for the 5th overall pick.
But why?
Because they need a tight end. And it's like, yeah, you do, but you can get tight ends.
Yeah.
Other places, buddy. And it's just like, it's like, because even in that spot, it's like, well, you need wide receiver too. So even if you think Marvin Harrison's going forward, why didn't you want Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze?
Yeah, that Rome dude, yeah.
It's like, no, they were like multiple, like quite a bit. It was more than other players that I saw. They're like, we need Brock Bowers. Get Brock Bowers. We need tight end. It's like, yeah, you do, but you need wide receiver too. And other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, So
because obviously, like, yeah, you have elite tight ends, but tight end is also sometimes a plug and play position.
yeah, you can find solid tight ends later, and
Right.
you're talking about premium spot, right? You're talking about you're now going to basically have probably one of the highest paid tight ends in the league by picking him number 5.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Plus,
because
plus now
that's
handicapping you to get better wide receivers, which you desperately need.
well, and it's because they're going like, well, it's such a deep wide receiver draft, and it's like, yeah, but you could get basically, well, theoretically in this scenario, you could have gotten the top one, but
Right.
which actually is still possible. I mean, that is a real possibility.
That is, yeah.
So
That the
if-
Cardinals do throw a curveball and pick somebody else
and trade out. Well, no, really, if
or
they
trade down
out,
even.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's I
Yeah.
think that's the most likely. If they don't pick Marvin Harrison, I think the most likely scenario is that the other likely scenario is that they trade out, and it's because somebody wants to pick a quarterback at 4, meaning that
Yeah.
suddenly, of course, some people are like, oh, maybe Malik Neighbors to Arizona, but anyway, so I mean, this is a huge fall for Marvin Harrison because
That
he
is.
probably figured to be the first skill position player picked,
Mhm.
but somehow tight end Brock Bowers
is 5th.
number 5. So this is crazy.
Now that we're through the top 5, I want to throw in
Yeah.
what my coworker said last night. He is convinced we're both 49ers fans, he and I. And we also work with another guy who's also a 49ers fan. But he is convinced that the 49ers are going to trade into the top 10
What?
to get a quarterback.
To get a quarterback?
He is convinced that's what they're going to do.
Well, for this exercise, we weren't doing trades, but was there a quarterback in mind?
No, he didn't. I was like, well, who would they get? Because even if they trade, like, if they're in the top 10, but out of the top 5, all the best quarterbacks are already theoretically going to be gone. And he goes, I don't know. They're just going to pick a quarterback. They're going to do it. So I was like,
I don't know. That's also great. Hey, you know what we should do? We should go from 31 to pick 10, which would take a lot.
Right.
Okay. It's not easy. People sometimes, so like, this is the thing with the trade stuff. And we kind of, and like experts and stuff get on this too. It's like, it's fun to think about trades, but they usually aren't actually that many because 1, it's not that easy. You got to figure out compensation, and then you got to decide, is it worth it to give up that kind of compensation for it? But then 2, and some other people have talked about this, a lot of these teams, these GMs, it's like they don't necessarily just want to give up their pick. Sometimes they have a guy in mind. And they're like, I know if I'm here, I can get this guy. If I trade back, I may not get that guy that I really want. And so there's so many teams. It's like, unless if you blow me away with an offer, because that's what's going on with the Patriots thing right now. It's like, yeah, they're saying they're open to a trade, but they've also said, like, right now they haven't really heard anything that's going to make them move. So meaning that they want
the Patriots already have 8 draft picks, so they're already stocked pretty well.
Yeah, they want something really substantial. So it's but it's just the idea of just that they jump up to 10. Who are they going to get? I don't know. It's like that's the answer. It's like, I don't know.
He threw out Michael Penix Jr. because he's
you might be able to get him at 31 if you wanted to.
And I was like, well, yeah, but he's projected to go mid-round, and we see quarterbacks fall every single draft day, so that makes even less sense because I said that exact same thing. Like, he could even be available in the second round, for God's sake.
It's possible that the 49ers actually trade with somebody who wants to get back into the first round to get Penix, so they have the 5th-year option on him.
Right.
That's actually a possibility.
Yeah. That was a bizarre interaction, though. I was just like, wow, that is interesting. Sure, we have a franchise quarterback already that literally drove down for a go-ahead score in the Super Bowl, but sure, we're gonna trade into the top 10 to take a quarterback. That makes sense.
Yeah. I do have Penix going in the first 16, though. So.
Oh, okay. I think he will. Well, we can get down to it. My opinion is.
No, I don't actually. I'm not sure. I don't think he actually will. I think there's a lot of this classic quarterback, like especially when you have this many, pretty decent prospects.
Yeah.
It's like everybody thinks, oh, everybody's going to take a quarterback because of it. But usually I would not doubt if both Penix and Bo Nix drop out of the first round
Of
or
the
go
first
towards the
round.
bottom.
Yeah.
I would know because like one person was even I think I can't remember who it was who I was watching uh was suggesting it's like I mean what if like the Vikings don't trade up, like maybe they just can't find a good trade up. What if they pick somebody else at 11 and then pick Penix at 23?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there's a decent chance he'll fall down there.
Mhm.
So
Right, right.
or Bo
I
Nix. I
I
mean, one person, I can't remember whose mock draft it was, had Bo Nix at 23 to the Vikings, I think. So, where it's like
huh.
they could wait and pick a pretty good talent at 11 and then just pick one of those other quarterbacks since they have the second first rounder anyway. Then they don't have to
Right,
trade. They
right.
don't even have to worry about trading back in. And they don't
Mhm.
really have to worry about somebody trading back in and getting above them because it'd be pretty hard to trade back in but get above the 23rd pick. Usually when you're trading
Yeah.
back into the first round, you're getting like high 20s, you know,
Right, right.
high 20s
Maybe
or
late teens at best.
yeah, but it's tough because that's a lot to give up to jump that far back up. So,
Yeah.
if you're trading it from the second round anyway,
Right,
because
right.
I don't think anybody in the bottom half is going to suddenly want to get one of these quarterbacks.
No, no. Cool, because well, all those teams at the bottom already have
Yeah,
firm
pretty much. Yeah,
quarterbacks in place,
yeah.
and then the guys that'll be left on the board. These guys are going to be want to be starters anyways,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
especially for like the Chiefs and 49ers and all those guys that made it deep in the playoffs. All their quarterbacks are still really young.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so let's
So
see.
Marvin Harris. So Brock
Yeah.
Bowers to the Chargers.
Yeah.
That's number 5.
Yeah. So then, yeah, Marvin
All right.
Harrison. Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Now he's being drafted 6th in theory.
Yeah. In this scenario. So,
Yeah, which the Giants need. So
yeah. And actually, I mean, and so this is actually, I did want to talk about this too. It was pretty interesting scouring through the social media for the teams. And it is crazy how many Giants fans are still like, it's not Daniel Jones's fault. It's not Daniel Jones's fault. We need to
it
give him
kind of
pieces.
is.
And it's like I know it's not completely his fault. This is a team
Right,
game.
right.
He obviously was not always set up for things, right? But it's
Mhm.
like, but the love of maybe not. I don't know. Maybe love's a strong word, but but this loyalty to Daniel Jones, and then maybe it's just because they had Eli Manning for so long. Maybe they just
Right,
think like I don't know that maybe they just think that any mediocre quarterback can win them 2 Super Bowls.
right, right.
Shots fired. but it's like,
Why are you calling Eli mediocre?
but
Ouch.
it's like, but Daniel Jones's ceiling feels like mediocre. At least like Eli Manning had a ceiling that was higher and he hit it
Right.
a couple times, right?
Yeah, like Eli's ceiling was very, very good.
Right, right. I feel like on average he was more mediocre, but when he was hitting on all cylinders, he got 2 Super Bowls, which is not
Right,
that much. I
right.
mean, that's a real thing. That's a real accomplishment, because
And he
yeah,
had a few. He had a few Pro Bowl seasons
yeah,
too.
yeah, but yeah, he was very good was sort of his ceiling, it was
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
that was kind of his area. But it's like, but it feels like Daniel Jones's ceiling is okay.
yeah.
It's like, oh,
We can if he's hitting peak, we can win maybe 9 or 10
yeah,
games.
right. Okay, we can sneak into the playoffs and then flame out
Get
completely.
get blown out by the Eagles or
Yeah.
whomever.
Yeah, yeah. And when they made the playoffs, that was like the most obvious, like
Yeah,
so of
yeah.
course so they had met with the Vikings, so
Right, right.
who also
Actually, what's funny is that I told somebody last night is that I will never say I know what was going to happen in a sports game, but that Eagles Giants game, that was like one of the closest.
yeah.
We know what's about to happen
Yeah,
here,
yeah, we
pretty
all
much.
we all know. We all know. Not a hard one to figure out. Yeah, and so but yeah, but they do seem to be very much on the, wide receiver, maybe O-line, but the wide
Mhm.
receiver realm of like we need, this weapon. So yeah, I think they would be ecstatic to get a Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way they don't pick
in
him.
this scenario.
No, we'll just give Marvin Harrison to the Giants.
Yeah, yeah. Even though
I think that
it seems likely that it's gonna, that they're gonna get a Malik Neighbors. I mean, maybe they do a quarterback in
That's
reality.
I've seen a few mock drafts, like 4 or 5, and Malik Neighbors keeps going to the Giants. So
Yeah.
that seems like a pretty consensus thing. Same thing with Marvin Harrison. Provided Bo Nix doesn't go 4th overall.
Of course.
Of course.
I mean, we know what's actually gonna happen. We're just talking about what those experts
Right.
think.
Idiots.
We've got the people in the bar, all right? We've
Right.
got the people who are actually in tune to what's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though I don't know if you've heard any Tennessee things.
No, not really.
And
No.
this makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense because who's a Titans fan?
Well, because I was scouring through Tennessee things because in Seattle I'm not going to hear a lot of Tennessee stuff in general usually, and basically
fair.
everybody in Tennessee is exactly where the experts are. They're all like Joe Alt.
Oh,
We want Joe Alt. We want to tackle. It's like they literally have a hashtag that's alt or bust.
Oh, that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, I have seen that a couple times.
Yeah, so it's just like this is one where all fans and experts are all 100% aligned. Just
Yeah.
like, yep. And I'm like, this makes the most sense for Tennessee. Tennessee's just what's because it's boring, but I mean, it's not that it's not a good choice. I'm not saying it's
Right.
They definitely could use it. It's perfect choice, makes sense, especially for where they are in the draft, everything like that. Get the top
Yep.
tackle in the draft. Not a big deal, but it's so funny because it just feels so Tennessee at the same time. It's just boring. It's safe. It makes sense.
Right.
Let us do that.
Yeah.
And it's just a solid thing. That's what we are going to do.
Yep.
Um,
And they need it.
Yeah.
Boy, do they need it.
yeah, and they do. So it makes sense, and it's just like funny because it's like I couldn't find beyond somebody who's like a troll, and I was trying to filter out when I was doing like the internet side. It's like there's always going to be people who are not an actual fan that's just trolling,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And so I was just like, so I could kind of figure it out, and I was like, but no, really, it's like everybody's like, yeah, Joe Alt, let's do Joe Alt. Like it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's just like there were no real crazy fans. It felt like they were just all like,
Yeah,
yeah, Joe Alt,
yeah.
let's do that. And you're like, okay, well, all right, that's an easy one.
Cool. Falcons are at 8. There's weirdly quite a few Falcons fans around here. And first off, they were ecstatic when they signed Kirk Cousins, at least the ones that I've interacted with here. Because they think with the offense, like they think he's good enough to get them there. And
they've got good weapons in a weak
they
division.
do.
I think,
Yeah, in
I
a
think
weak
for,
division, yeah.
I think
And
for
they were
Falcons fans having a strong year and getting to the playoffs is a pretty good win.
Yeah. And yeah, so they think they can at least make it to the divisional round now. And they're
possible.
focused on
Yeah.
I agree. Like
very
who
possible.
knows? Baker Mayfield may not come back and do what he did last year. The Bucks are still kind of a crapshoot. Who knows with the Saints?
Yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, you expect them to have a good shot to win the division, meaning they'd have a home game in the wild card round, right? And then, yeah, if they have a home game in the wild card round, good chance to make it to the divisional, and then
yeah. And depending on the way things shake out, you may have 2 home games like the Lions did.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, with the way the Falcons have been, and that's what's hard, I think, probably from the Falcons side is spending all this draft capital on all these like really good weapons, and then and this is the argument I think of since we've talked about it earlier when people are like, oh well, we don't have any weapons for a quarterback, so we need to get weapons first. It's like okay, but then you have to hopefully get a quarterback later,
right.
Or otherwise you are what the Falcons have been the past few years.
I was going to say, otherwise you are doing exactly what the Falcons are doing. Like you can
and they
stack
didn't get
all the weapons you want,
right?
When you got Desmond Ritter and Taylor Heineke throwing the ball, it's not going to do much.
Yeah, and now luckily Cousins became available, and there's obviously some question marks with the ACL and everything.
Sure.
But that's never a guarantee that one, that guy's going to become available, and then 2, you're going to be able to land that free agent guy.
Right. Yeah. And I think the Falcons made the right move in going after it.
Sure. Yeah. I think so.
Himself to be a really good quarterback.
Yeah. But it's like, but what if he decided he wanted to stay in Minnesota?
Right.
Now with this free agency, it was a little interesting because maybe they could have made a trade for Justin Fields if they wanted him,
Mhm.
or they could have tried to get Russell
Which
Wilson. I guess
which was huge. I mean, those rumors were everywhere that Justin Fields
Yeah,
was going to come to the
yeah.
Falcons.
And that's just like, and that's sometimes we forget that sometimes that's what happens when people say things that make sense, and then it
Mhm.
just sort of rolls away. Now everybody goes, well, so that's what they're gonna do because that makes sense, right?
Right.
And it's like, okay, but we're actually forgetting that that's just what we're saying. That's the
Yeah. Right.
that's not necessarily what's happening in the team facility. But not that people were mad about them signing Kirk. They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Again,
Um,
like there's a good like half a dozen Falcons fans that go to B-dubs all the time, and we talk football every time we're there.
yeah,
Again, they were ecstatic, and they want more than anything now. They're saying they want defensive line because they
yeah.
need to,
That's what I've got
especially
too.
their quarterback. And I'm reading it now, and they said the same thing, but they were one of the worst teams in the NFL in pressuring the quarterback last season.
Yeah.
So they need an edge rusher.
Yeah, so Dallas
And I guess
Turner was one that I was
Dallas
finding.
Turner keeps popping up there.
Yeah, that was
So,
another one where I couldn't really find. I did see a lot of crazy bar guy fans. It,
no,
it was just
no.
sort of like because they kind of already know what they've got,
Right, right.
and they're like, and also because I think they have. Sometimes it's the thing is like they have actual hope.
Yeah,
You know?
finally.
Like, yeah, they've got actual real hope. So it's like it almost like reins in the crazy because it's like they actually focus in and go, okay, but what do we actually need? Okay, now what
Right,
do we need?
right, right.
Versus like
And
maybe that's
they have
why you can find the crazy Arizona guy because it's like there's hope, but it's still like they've had it's not like they've had one playoff appearance with Kyler Murray, right? You know,
mhm, and got lamb blasted by the Rams.
Yeah, and even though they definitely looked better last year than what anybody thought they would look like, not that they had a great record, obviously, but they still looked way better
They were
than
real frisky. They were
yeah,
real
yeah.
frisky.
But I still think there's a lot of that Arizona just like, "Oh, what is it? We gotta blow it up. We gotta, it's like,
And
uh,
you don't have to blow it up.
no,
I
you
don't think you
don't.
have to
But
blow it
I just
up.
don't think that there's enough hope. Probably too because the division's not easy. But
Yeah,
versus like the Falcons, it's like, no, there's actual like realistic hope. Like we
right,
can
right.
win this division. So now it's like you focus in on what you need. So yeah, that
Mhm.
was another one where I didn't have a lot of
Yeah. No,
crazy
there's not,
things.
no. And then one of those Falcons fans that I talked to, after the Cousins thing, and we were talking about he was talking about how they needed defense, and then he just stopped and went, "I'm just so sick of going 7-10, man. I'm
Yeah,
so sick of it."
yeah,
Which is fair, it's 3 years in a
exactly,
row.
exactly. So a lot of people want wide receiver on the Bears side at
They
9.
do. That Rome Ozune guy seems to be
Well,
there's not a lot of
there's
movement
that,
there.
but in this scenario, Malik Neighbors is actually still
Still
available.
available. Oh, so they'll pick Malik Neighbors for sure.
I would think so because I was also seeing that other places that like there was dream scenarios that people were throwing out there of like, oh my god,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if Malik Neighbors falls.
Falls this far, yeah.
Because and honestly, there it makes a lot of sense because he's a speed guy, you
Mhm.
know, and so that it's like that, Keenan Allen, not big speed guy, possession guy, throw it up guy, and he'll get it for you. Not that he's
Right,
not. I
right.
mean, like these guys aren't slow, but and then DJ Moore, again, not slow. You can definitely toss it out there, but Malik Neighbors is like specifically like speed guy, so it actually would make a lot of sense. Actually,
It would, yeah,
for
you
like
have the
for
throw it
them.
up guy with DJ Moore and then blazing speed on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, some of these teams are really lucking out.
Yeah,
Uh,
they are. Mhm.
yeah, I think some of these teams are definitely going to get some F grades on people's
They will.
I think
Yeah.
Arizona probably being number one. I feel like
Yeah.
so far that feels like the number one to
Well,
me.
Malik Neighbors to the Bears.
But yeah, yeah. Though I mean, I guess with the questionable Drake May pick,
Well, yeah, we'll see.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'll see.
I guess who knows? That's a little maybe it's not as exciting. Uh, Meaning that the Jets can't get Brock Bowers at this point.
Correct, which is also a consensus, but he's now to the Chargers.
Yeah.
So do the Jets now select the Ozune guy to get a wide receiver?
Oh, that's
Because
interesting.
he's now still on the board.
Well, so yeah, from what I found from Jets internet is offensive tackle side, if not Brock Bowers.
Okay.
But that is interesting, right? Because I have
Right.
heard some rumors about that, right? Where it's like, oh, what about, yeah, somebody to pair with Garrett Wilson,
Hmm.
Aroma Dunze. Do I have?
Yeah.
Actually, so that maybe that it would be what would be said. Because honestly, without that, I don't have Udunze going in the top 16.
Wow.
From the things that I was gathering. So,
Wow.
but yeah, that would make sense if they missed out on Bowers, right? Which obviously should be top 5, apparently. Bowers,
Clearly.
tight end top
Well,
5.
Bo Nix is top 5, so obviously
Yeah,
we're
well, that's true. If Bo Nix is top 5, then hey, is it really that bad? Yeah. So okay, yeah. So Roma Dunze then.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Because I would think if in that with this
Yeah.
scenario now, the Jets can just go, well, it's a pretty deep offensive line draft, so we can get offensive line in later rounds.
Yeah.
Because we cannot pass up a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I would do.
yeah, that people are the Jets. Jets fans will probably go crazy for that because now they get to say Aaron Rodgers can throw it to Dunze. But it was actually pretty interesting going through and seeing how much offensive tackle. Probably because they're just frightened because they're like, you know how excited I was last year.
Oh, yeah.
And
then what the third play of the season,
Right,
Rodgers goes down.
Yeah, because our offensive line is terrible. But I mean, people are making good arguments. Like, yeah, but now you don't know if Tyron Smith is going to be able to play the entire year. But it's not like that was not a solid free agent left tackle. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a future Hall of Fame tackle more than likely. I mean,
right.
Now of course the injury questions, but he did play. I can't remember how many games he played last year, but he played like 14 games or something last year. So
Yeah.
if he can play around that, you're gonna have one of the best left tackles probably in the league. So
Which
it
is
does mean yes that you
essential
can
with a
probably
right-handed quarterback.
draft a tackle later.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, I know some people are projecting, yeah, maybe they draft somebody who's a little more versatile, so that way he can take over left tackle.
Who could shuffle around the offensive line.
But yeah, maybe he's like a left guard or a right tackle,
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Which in this scenario would make more sense that they're like, well, let's find a rotating guy. Again, we already got a wide receiver. We signed that left tackle.
Yeah. And now in quite a fall, this would make the most sense, and I think Vikings fans would be ecstatic if they got Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's right.
Falling all the way to 11. He just fell. They didn't have to trade at all. He just fell right down to them. I mean,
yeah, Vikings fans would be really excited.
Yeah, he was
rightfully so
5th quarterback taken.
Wow,
nobody saw it coming. Nobody, but.
And he would be somewhat set up for success because the Vikings still have a pretty solid team.
Yeah, great spot for him,
Yeah.
Great team. And now they get this mobile quarterback, so they have an extra element to their offense.
Yep. Something they did not quite have with Cousins. So
Smart
there you
coach,
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, this works out great. It feels like it works
out. There you go, Vikings fans. We are on it for you.
You guys really, yeah. I mean, you guys ended up, you and the Patriots have really turned out great in this.
Yeah. Patriots get Caleb Williams. You guys get Jaden Daniels. Wow.
Yeah.
This is wild. What a first half.
Yeah. Who knew? Like it would get. I mean,
this is wild.
If we didn't have the people at the bar,
we would not have all of this inside information.
Yeah,
that is very true.
This is. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to get this anywhere else, folks. This is the inside content.
And this is like
get from anywhere else.
This is like an ironclad top 11 we got going on right now.
This is the content that you get when somebody's had 6 Bud Lights, okay? They're just sitting there eating their wings, and they had a brilliant idea.
Well, this guy, the first guy who thinks Drake May is going, well, sorry, not thinks, knows Drake May is going, yeah. He was ripping Petron shots with it. So.
That's what you need. That's how you get here.
He's drinking Michelob Ultra and ripping Petron shots. So obviously he knows.
That's how you GM.
That is. You rip the Michelob Ultras and Petron shots at freaking B-dubs. That's right. How you know.
That's exactly what you do. Wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Now,
I haven't heard a lot about the Broncos, but
so this is interesting.
Oh,
is not interesting. It's just like I don't really have a player down for here because the amount of Broncos fans that I could find, they're just like, "Can we just trade back? We need more picks," because they don't have a second rounder, right? I don't think they do.
oh yeah, no, I
Uh,
think that's Seattle
yeah,
still.
yeah, yeah. So it's just like and then it's just like I didn't even see players listed in general for the Broncos.
Yeah,
It's like people are like, "We need offensive tackle, we need defensive line, we need cornerback, we need wide receiver."
I keep hearing cornerback, and that's like I've seen a couple mock drafts where that Quentin Mitchell guy
Yeah.
keeps coming popping up.
And it makes sense because I mean, just from where they are, this is the thing. Like they are in a weird spot because it's like, do they need a quarterback? Sure, they do, but they're at 12, and they don't really
Right.
have a lot of capital to trade up,
Up. Right, right.
right? So like that's pretty hard to do.
And I
So
don't think they'd be desperate enough to pick Michael Penix Jr. at this point.
I don't. Yeah, it's like it's like they'd have to really love him, and like of course Bo Nix is another option, but again, oh well, in this scenario, obviously
Well, Bo Nix is already
out of the way
gone.
because he's a
So
proven winner, and just look at the stats according to the one
correct.
guy.
That's that keeps thinking, look at his stats.
I know.
That's it.
Fans love doing that. Look at the stats. Look at the stats. And
That's misleading.
but it's like, but there's a decent chance they could get one of those. Well, they don't have a second round pick, so that's the hard part, I guess.
Yeah, what? So I mean,
For
if
the
I'm a
Broncos.
Broncos fan, I'd want to do that too. Trade back and like stockpile more picks.
Yeah, because maybe if you could trade back, maybe you could get a second round pick, and then maybe if Penix or Bo Nix are still there, maybe you
go
could
ahead
pick
and
one
pick
of
'em.
those guys. Yeah, maybe you
Right.
can go back. But the
and turn him
problem
into
is,
and turn him into a project.
but the problem is, I mean, in a real life now, even not in a joking scenario, in a real life scenario, is there anybody who wants to trade up to 12?
I don't think so.
It's like who's fighting for that spot? Who's sitting there at 12? Like what player's sitting there at 12 that people are like, I gotta go up.
Right, and
I
so
gotta
a friend of mine, he sent me a mock trade that the 49ers would trade Brandon Ayuk to the Giants and get 2 of their picks as well, or rather the Giants would get 2 of their picks so they could jump in to the 6th spot. And I was like, that's dumb. The Niners wouldn't do that. They need defensive backs more than anything, and it's a pretty deep defensive back draft, like whoever they want, and they also need offensive line still.
Yeah,
So whoever they want, they will still be available when they're picking. So that's
if the Niners are having to give up picks for it, no.
no, absolutely not.
If there's a trade and the Giants just want Brandon Ayuk and we get their 6th pick and then get maybe and get one of the top receivers, it's like it's a little iffy to me because I love Brandon Ayuk, but it's at least like a very defensible trade with just a swap of like now that would technically be called a high price for Brandon Ayuk, I think.
It would be, yeah.
Not that I don't think a first rounder would be surprising for Ayuk, but if people were expecting a first round, they're probably expecting like a late first rounder.
Yeah, right.
So like a 6th overall would be crazy. I mean, like if they got that, I mean, I'd almost be like, I mean, you almost kind of to get a 6th round pick straight up,
Oh yeah.
I mean, not 6th round, sorry, 6th overall pick.
6th overall, yeah.
Straight up. I mean, like I would hate to say goodbye to Ayuk.
But again, like, I don't even know if that would be worth it because what they need, you don't need it unless they would do it to get Joe Alt, I guess.
Well, no, but it's like, but if you think that at that point, that means that they would need another receiver. So basically, you're trading Ayuk to get like whomever would actually be there, Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunze.
Malik Neighbors, yeah,
or
right.
Dunze, one of those two that you would. So basically, you're just
kind of replace Ayuk.
Basically, you're replacing Ayuk and going, okay, would you start over again here? And now we've got another rookie contract wide receiver who could be
for the next 4 or 5 years,
who could be a top wide receiver. I think that would be the idea. And then they use their second round. But that again, to me, that you would only do that if you was just a 1-on-1 swap, basically. Because you don't you don't want to give up these other spots.
Right, because like that's part of Kyle Shanahan's strategy is always to stockpile picks. So he's not going to give up multiple picks and his star wideout for one pick.
That would be way too much when it's like you can still have Ayuk for the year if you want. Now you would lose him. Well,
Right.
theoretically, you could franchise.
Theoretically, you lose him Yeah, theoretically, if you don't get a signing done, you'd lose him for nothing. But
Not
I
necessarily
still think
because
they work it
because
out.
you could franchise them and then trade him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's
So
true.
so I mean, like they've got a lot of leverage still in that situation that I don't feel like people are really talking about.
They're not, and like they keep saying, "Oh, when is it going to be the day? Any day now that they trade Ayuk?" They're not going to
I
freaking
don't think
trade
they want to
him.
trade up. I'd have to be
They
a
don't
great.
want
It
to.
would have to be to me a crazy deal like that, where the Giants were like, "Yes, we will give you the 6th overall pick, straight
Straight up
up."
for BA.
Yeah, because like in this scenario, which I don't think they ever would, by the way. In that scenario, it would just be that the Giants are like, we want somebody who we know for a fact is a number one wide receiver,
Right.
and
Right.
we have enough cap that we can make that work, and we can get him a deal.
Yeah. Anyways,
But yeah,
I
so
thought that was interesting. All right, so do you want to just? I think we'll go with the general consensus that Mitchell guy goes to the Broncos.
yeah, that seems fine. The next two, I've only been able to scour and just see O line.
Okay.
uh,
Well, Raiders guy
but
that goes. Oh, I have a Raiders
go
fan.
perfect, great.
Yep, he's well, I've seen it in a couple of projections, but he goes, I'm a Raiders fan, and it'll be a Raiders thing. They're gonna pick Michael Penix if he's on the board.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes mine, but that's
Yeah.
fine because they get it first. So
Yep.
I
And
mean,
because to his credit, he goes, we were stupid enough to trade up to get Jamarcus Russell. So we'll I was like, that's fair.
the faith of a Raiders fan.
Yeah. He was like, they're desperate for quarterback, especially with Jimmy G going down and everything that happened last year. Like, they're gonna pick Penix if he's there. So Raiders fans are getting Michael Penix Jr. according to this guy.
Yeah, Jimmy G still never got a real chance there. I feel like people keep forgetting about that. It's like you understand that Josh McDaniels was awful, right? Because he
Right.
got fired in the middle of the year, and of course, now Jimmy got hurt. I'm not saying he was playing like amazing, but it's like nobody was playing amazing on the team because everybody hated playing for Josh McDaniels.
Exactly.
Like the only person who plays amazing was Max Crosby, but that's because he's an insane human being. I'm not
right,
even
right.
sure he knows what's going on half the time. He's just like sack quarterback.
Yes.
Like I think that's all that plays in his head.
To me, he's always like the Gronk of defense, or Gronk on offense is always block for Tom Brady, catch football.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's just like tackle. Like that's the only thing that runs through his brain. So, but yeah, all right, yeah. They've got it. They've got to get Penix, I guess.
Yep.
Penix to me though is one of the more interesting of the quarterbacks in the.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't be that. If I were a Raiders fan, I wouldn't be that upset if now that they have an actual coach that they like in place. If they kept Jimmy G for that contract and let Penix learn for a couple years.
But the hard part with Penix though is that he's one of him and Bo Nix are both older because they were in college for like 6 years because of the COVID.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So theoretically, these guys shouldn't really have to. They should be able to jump in theoretically. Same with Jaden Daniels has been in for a while too. Versus like the JJ McCarthy and the Drake Mays. It's like people are a little more.
Aren't they both like sophomores and juniors?
They're like
or something
21.
Like
Yeah.
Oof.
And so like for them, that's why people want like the Vikings to get like a JJ McCarthy because it's just like it's a much more solid situation. He's younger. But also
and you
why
can take your lumps with those younger guys.
But also why in reality, to me it wouldn't be a bad idea for the Patriots to get Drake May because it's like, well, you have Jacoby Brissett. So even if it's for a half of the year, you could have Jacoby Brissett starting for half the year, and let Drake May get his, feet under him a little bit. So
and see if like the improvements you've made on offense or what they think they've beefed up is actually working out as well.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but if they pick, so to me, if a team's picking Penix or Nix, you should be expecting that they could come in and win the starting job because they should have enough experience under their belt to come in and do it.
Yeah.
I like Penix a lot, but I got to see and hear more things about him because I live in Seattle.
Yeah, and he went to Washington.
Because that's what I can tell you. That's what Seattle fans want. Seattle
Really?
fans want Penix, but of course they do because they got to watch him in college. They got
Yeah,
to
right,
see
right.
him, and they're like, "Oh man!" And they loved him because he took him to a national title game. It's been a long time since Washington's been up to a
Right, that's
national
right.
title game. So to them, he's like a savior kind of a guy. I mean, plus they Seattle hired Washington's offensive coordinator.
Oh. So
So
maybe does Seattle trade up to try to get Penix, or do they just
I don't think they would
expect him
have
to fall?
theoretically, but I don't even know if that's actually going to happen. I'm just telling you that's what Seattle fans are
Oh,
want.
that's fair. Okay,
That's
okay.
that because they love Penix. They watched him do all this stuff, and they watched him make the team super duper relevant. I
Right.
mean, obviously, other people, I mean, they had great receivers, great coach, all of that kind of
Sure.
stuff. But it's like, but the quarterback is the quarterback. So when you see the quarterback making those throws, that's so Seahawks fans are like, man, Penix, let's get Penix. And then, they feel like he could be their quarterback of the future because they saw him be the quarterback for UW. So for the
Yeah.
Huskies. So, but sadly for them, Raiders got to him
Yep.
first.
Sorry,
So
Seahawks.
sorry.
Penix to the Raiders.
So sorry. That's tough. That's a tough loss.
What do we hear from Saints land? I don't have a lot of Saints fans in my area.
Oh, this was another one where it's just like, well, I saw quite a few comments that were like, "When does the coach draft start?"
What?
Because so many people are just done um, with Dennis Allen.
Oh.
They're just, there's just like, it's like the amount of comments and things that I saw. It's like it doesn't matter who we draft while we have Dennis Allen. It
Oh,
doesn't.
that's fair.
It's just like this defeat. It's just like they're like, who cares?
It's like Falcons fans with Desmond Ritter and Terrell Heineke. It doesn't matter what we have.
Yeah.
Those guys are quarterbacks. We're mediocre at best.
Yeah. So the other consensus was just basically offensive tackle of some kind.
okay.
So nothing super exciting there. It's just sort of like, but yeah, that was a funny thing of just like, who cares? Can we draft a coach? Are we allowed to draft a coach? Is that a thing we're allowed to do? It's like,
Yeah.
so that was pretty interesting to find out.
Could we like draft USC's coach? Can we do that?
What can we do? Yeah, and it is funny because it is kind of interesting how long they've held on to Dennis. And obviously, it's not. The thing is, like a guy like a Dennis Allen. The thing is, like he's one of those coaches that doesn't do a bad enough of a job.
Yeah, to get fired.
Yeah, even though he's not really doing a great job.
Right.
And it's like,
and especially in a weak division, they've stayed relevant. Like
Yeah.
they're close to a playoff spot every single year.
yeah,
But that's also not good.
yeah, because it's like the thing is like it's like, but now you have years and years of it. It's like when a
Right.
guy does an okay job and it's his first couple of years, you're like, okay, cool, he's doing an okay job. Let's see if he improves on this as it becomes more stable. Everything keeps getting more in place. It's like, but that's not the case with Dennis Allen. It's just like,
Yeah, right,
no, this is
right.
just who he is. He's just okay, and he's a really good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Maybe he should just stay there.
yeah, it's like, but as a head coach, he's okay, and it's like
Yeah.
that's never gonna get you anywhere.
No.
It's
Yeah.
just like you can do that with certain positions, but when it's a head coach, it's like he's running the entire team. Okay, is
Mhm.
always gonna be okay.
Right,
know?
right.
It's
Hence why they waited for Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is okay.
okay. Seems solid. It's so weird too how like so many people just do not really like Carr. He's got-
Yeah,
there's
I don't
some-
mind him, but
Well, but I think there's something with his personality, like even
Oh.
team-wise. Like I just think he's got a weird something.
anyways. All right, so the Saints fans want to draft a coach.
yeah, but they'll settle for offensive tackle of some
Okay,
kind.
got it. Okay.
So,
Colts, I keep hearing just defense.
yeah,
defense.
Cooper DeJean. I think I said that right. The cornerback is what I was getting for that. So
I've seen Terrian. I have it put up right now, and I've seen it a couple times. It's Terrian Arnold as well.
Arnold,
Alabama kid. Yeah,
yeah, I could see that one too.
yeah. So either way, like they're gonna draft. I think them and the 49ers are gonna be the same. I think they're both gonna draft defensive backs.
Yeah, yeah. From what I could get from the fan side, it was Cooper was kind of the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Maybe Mitchell
They're,
too, but Mitchell's already gone in our
right,
thing.
right,
So,
right. But
but
there's I was talking to a Colts fan at B Dubs, and he made a joke last week. He goes, "Shit, I mean, one of us could probably make the Colts starting defense at this point."
yeah, I mean, when you've got, I think defensive line is overall more important, but when you've got really bad cornerback play, that is so frustrating as a fan
Yeah,
because
right,
you're just like, it's just you're just like, I don't know what to do.
right, right.
And then the team doesn't know what to do because it's just like you can only make up for it so much. It's like I can only have the safety help out this cornerback so many times.
So many times, like
Like
my corner has to be able to go 1-on-1 at some point.
sometimes, or they move that corner, or they find ways to take advantage of that corner by putting him in a position where the safety can't help.
Mhm.
you
Right,
know,
right.
um, and it's just like, yeah, and then when you've got multiple quarterback bad play, I mean, it's because it's one thing if you've got like, if you've got like one, it's like, okay, how do we adjust? Who can we get to sort of assist and help out? But it's like if you've got more than one, then it's like, who do I help now? Now I got to
Right,
figure out who
right.
can I help, and then who's left to hopefully. So
Yep.
yeah, it
And
makes
that's
a
how
lot
the
of sense
Colts
for the
end up
Colts.
in that's how the Colts end up in shootouts like
Yeah,
they did last year.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Well, speaking of the Seahawks,
I don't know what to do for them now because they were hoping to get Penix at 16.
well, Penix is gone. So sorry, Seahawks fans.
I
Don't they
mean,
need offensive line though?
yeah, they probably. I would think. What are they mocked as getting?
They're
In
well, they're
general?
mocked in this particular one. They're taking another kid from Washington, one of their OLs, Choi Fatanu.
Oh yeah. I've been seeing that too.
Okay, is
I
that pretty
mean,
consensus? I've seen his name a few
well,
times as
because
well.
like I said, if we're talking about crazy bar guy, I mean, Penix is the craziest. Penix is sort of the craziest that it's kind of gotten. But if he's
Mhm.
gone, then yeah, they would probably. I mean, if they got another UW guy, they'd be pretty happy.
Oh, okay. Well,
you know.
yeah, there you go.
Uh, so I know Dunze's gone. Not that they would need a wide receiver, but
No, but so yeah, offensive lineman, dude. Oh, there you go, Seahawks fans. You still got a Washington guy. Good
yeah,
job.
yeah. I think they would honestly be pretty disappointed if Penix was picked and they didn't get a
Oh,
chance
really?
at him. Honestly, I think if they don't pick Penix at 16, I don't think they will. Anyway, but
No, I agree with you. Like I can see Penix dropping all the way out of the first round. Now Raiders guy thinks, well, again, to his
I
point,
mean,
you did pick Jamarcus Russell.
I'm gonna say it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
It's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
no,
It's just
because he had a good combine workout too. Penix did.
yeah, and it's just the way, and he's a solid guy. People talk about like how he did really good with interviews and
Hmm.
um
So
yeah.
yeah, Penix is being picked by the Raiders. So there we go.
Yeah, so sorry guys. They just really
All
really
right. So do you want to recap our top
All right,
16?
folks. Yeah, so here's where we ended up.
Wrapping up. Here we are.
Here's where we're wrapping up at. So we have Drake May, number 1 overall.
Woo!
Here. Now again, we did no trades for this because that just didn't seem it just wasn't very pertinent to the
It's not
section
like a
six.
trade heavy. It's not like a trade heavy year. I don't think.
We'll see. I mean, it's tough. It's tough because, like I said, people always want to project trades, and it sounds like there's going to be a lot of trades, and then once it actually happens,
There's never
it's
really a
lot
lot.
less. I mean, it's tough when people think there's at least 4 starting caliber quarterbacks in the first round. I mean, pretty much
Yeah.
everybody's projecting 4 quarterbacks to go in the first round at least.
Right. Right. Right.
And you're
Right.
like, that's pretty crazy. But anyway, so Drake May going first, and then so obviously to the Bears. So since we're not
Yeah.
doing
To the
trades,
Bears. Drake May to the Bears.
then of course the best quarterback in the draft goes second at JJ McCarthy, thanks to Jim
Yes.
Harbaugh.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
that was not Guy and Barr, but that was Jim Harbaugh, who sometimes sounds like Guy and Barr. So
He does.
that's not making fun of Jim Harbaugh, by the way, because obviously he's very successful coach. So it's not like being like, oh, he's crazy. It's like, I mean, he might be crazy, but also he's a very good coach. Then steal Patriots get Caleb Williams
Caleb Williams, yeah.
at number
And then
3.
surprise, man.
Yeah. Yeah, big steal there. Big steal. Huge surprise, big shocker to the NFL world is that Bo Nix goes number 4
To the Cardinals. You already have Kyler Murray.
Yeah. So I'm assuming some trade is forthcoming on the Kyler Murray front. I don't know to who. Maybe to somebody who wanted a quarterback and missed out. You know?
Yeah. Maybe. Well.
I mean, now maybe that's really what happened with the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders trade. You know,
I was gonna say maybe the Broncos try to get Kyler Murray.
Or the Broncos. Maybe the Broncos give up number 12 for Kyler Murray. You know,
there you go,
and maybe a future something other. You know,
yeah, for Kyler Murray. Yeah.
I mean, that could be it. That
crazy.
Could be what ends up happening. Obviously, we didn't project trades, so we're not gonna stipulate. So I don't know what the Arizona's plan is, but they're picking Bo Nix number 4. And then the Chargers also in a bit of a shock pick Brock Bowers at number 5.
Wow.
Yes, as apparently I'm going to make quite a few from what I can find Chargers fans happy. They think this is genius.
Woo!
Yeah.
And now Marvin Harrison falling all the way to the Giants?
Yes, the Giants. Now that would actually be pretty good deal.
It would be.
It's like, I think you need a quarterback? Sure. But if you can get Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 6, when you definitely, you know, they're kind of been starving for a number 1 receiver there in Giants.
Darius Stoney didn't work out?
You know, we're gonna leave the door open. They may trade back for him.
Okay.
Yeah. So they get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 6, and everybody's world Joe Alt goes 7. There's just no it's like if you went to multiple alternate universes, it's like every time Joe Alt is going 7. There's no universe.
Yes. No multiverses Joe Alt on anybody but the Titans.
Joe Alt number 7. Everybody's good. Everybody's got that. We've got Dallas Turner going number 8 because everybody on the Falcons fans are like focused. They want that defense, so
they are starved for defense.
That one not a surprise pick. Nothing crazy there. Meaning that the Bears now can get Malik Neighbors at 9,
and that's a little bit of a shocker.
Pair with Drake May.
The pair with Drake May, that's right.
So we didn't expect that, but okay. That's
sure.
Them picking wide receiver there is not unpopular. That's they may not. I mean, there's definitely other options, but
right. But makes most sense for them to pick a wide receiver.
Yeah, and then that means, and now the Jets missing out on their Brock Bowers desires, though consolation Rome Odunze.
Yeah, Rome Odunze. Yeah,
not a bad consolation.
Number 2 wide receiver.
Not a bad consolation there. And then the Vikings also big winners in this, like the Patriots somehow get Jaden Daniels.
Wow.
At number 11.
There you go, Commanders fans. You got your quarterback.
Yeah.
Or I mean Vikings fans, sorry.
And then you got to still keep your 23rd pick to do whatever you want. You have to trade anywhere. Look at that. So, hey, sometimes waiting, you know, just be patient. And then, since the Broncos can't trade back in our scenario, and also I'm still not sure they will be able to. I just don't know who would actually need to get into the 12th pick. So Jaden, so they're just going to pick cornerback there and get Mitchell for cornerback. So.
Can I take this next one? Because it's just.
Oh, I was just doing the recap, but sure, yeah.
Oh, I know, but I want the Raiders taking Michael Penix Jr. According to a big old Raiders fan, like he was around. He's old enough that he remembers the last bits of John Madden's days. So he is a true Raiders fan, and in his exact words, because we're the stupid Raiders and we traded for Jamarcus Russell, we're going to pick Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
So there it is. Michael Penix to the Raiders.
And I really hope that's the guy who they have announce it. Because, they bring in people now to announce it. They bring in fans.
Honestly, I would love if that dude did it.
I'd just be great. Because we're stupid, we're picking Michael Penix Jr.
In the first round. Not that it's a dumb pick, but to pick him that high is kind of dumb.
13th. And that's kind of the consensus with Penix. So people are like, it's not that it's a bad idea to pick Penix. And really, I mean, there's the two big concerns are obviously injury. There because he is older. He's had a couple major injuries,
right?
And the older sort of coupled with the fact that there's like some issues that people have found, like his throwing to the middle of the field has been kind of a thing that's been knocked. And then some people argue that he's actually not as accurate as he seems. He just had really good wide receivers. That there's many times that Roma Dunze especially was just going up and getting the ball.
Well, because he has Devontae Adams then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so maybe that's the idea. It's like, well, you get
maybe it works out.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, just throw it up there. He'll get it for you. So,
yep.
But some people feel like maybe you can get him to throw it to the middle of the field. Who knows?
Yeah.
But again, when it's older, people go, but is he
sort of stuck in his ways? Yeah.
Saints don't care. They're just
Saints want to draft a coach or offensive line,
and they didn't even care which one. They were just like offensive tackle. Just, get one of those guys. We can't get a coach. Just get one of those guys. I guess just pick one of the top ones.
Who's solid, who can help anchor the offensive line.
Yeah, and then hopefully we'll get rid of our coach this year, and and at least now we'll have another offensive tackle to go.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
a new coach. And then just Indy, that's another one where the team's pretty focused because they almost made the playoffs. Not a lot of as many crazy fans, so they get Cooper.
And hopefully Anthony Richardson comes back and he plays like he did before because, man, was that guy fun to watch.
Yeah. And then Seattle missed out on their
Penix Jr.
On their Penix desires. Poor Seahawks there, so they will probably just get whatever tackle or something is left over. After the Saints pick whomever they want because they have no preference.
right. Now Seattle prefers probably the Washington offensive lineman dude.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah. So we actually have Troy Fontenot.
Yes. Fontenot. I think is it Fontenot. I think it might be Fontenot.
Fontenot. Yeah.
So they're probably doing Fontenot. And unless if somehow in the picking out of a hat offensive tackle that apparently Saints fans want to have happen.
Unless they get him. So maybe whoever the Saints pick then or don't pick, then the Seahawks draft that guy instead.
Yeah. But the Saints is just going to be a wild card.
Maybe we should just put that with the Saints. Wild card offensive lineman.
Yeah. So
anyway.
There you go, folks. Who knew?
What a wild top 16 this is going to be.
Yeah, who knew? Minus Tennessee, not wild. Just
minus Tennessee, yeah. Tennessee's the only a couple of not surprising.
They're really not that wild. Yeah. Some of them are not that wild, but but Tennessee.
Our top 5 is wild.
It's a wild top 5, and really kind of wild top 6, just because Marvin Harrison just goes to 6 suddenly. Instead of expecting to go 4 or 5.
When everybody has him going to the Cardinals right now. Everybody has him going to the Cardinals.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of a fall, and, sorry, you got to end up with Daniel Jones, too. So,
yeah, sorry.
Well, maybe you'll have Dak Prescott next year,
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
yeah.
You never know. That's actually, I do.
He's slowly falling from grace.
I wonder which teams are playing for that. The Dak
to get Dak Prescott, depending on what goes on with his,
So here's the thing that I find interesting. I don't know if you have time to chat about it real quick. The Dak Prescott thing.
I want to leave my house here in the next 45 minutes.
Okay, so because this is what I find interesting with the Dak Prescott Cowboys thing. One, and I want to talk about it a little bit just because it can affect this draft, because there might be teams that go, no, we're not going to try and get a quarterback. Let's try and build up the team, and let's make a run at Dak Prescott next year, right? So it could have an effect here. I mean, even possibly the Vikings. I mean, that's something to keep in mind.
Oh, yeah.
What if they're like, we're going to roll with Sam Darnold, we feel like we can do an okay job with him. I know, but
Forgot he was there.
it sounds funny, but it's possible, right?
I totally forgot he was signed by
Yeah.
the Vikings.
What if that's the thing? And they think like, okay, we can do solid here. Let's get we can get a couple first round guys with 11 and 23. We can get some solid players
Mhm.
and maybe we make a run, because also maybe what if they can't trade up, 'Cause
Yeah.
that seems to be the consensus that they're going to use 11 and 23. I mean, that they got the 23rd pick so they could try and do this trade up, which makes sense. So but say it doesn't happen. Say teams are like, they want something extra beyond the 11 and 23. They want something extra that people aren't really willing to give up. And they're like, okay, you know what? Never mind.
We'll roll with you.
And then we'll
Yeah.
wait and maybe we'll get lucky and somebody's at 11 that we want. And then it doesn't happen. Right. So then they're just
Right.
like, okay, there's not a guy we want. So let's just play for Dak Prescott. I mean, so that's like, this is possible.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing that I find interesting. I guess what that I feel like isn't part of the discourse is what I want to say. Because I've been consuming a lot of this discourse from all the media places. Your Rich Eisens, your First Things First, your Cowherds,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of those people. Is that because Dak Prescott has all the leverage, right? And they're like, oh,
Right.
so you're gonna have to end up paying him so much money if the year goes, if you want to keep him, right, at the end, right?
Mhm.
Like, say he gets you to at least the NFC
NFC
championship game.
championship,
Say he
yeah.
gets you at least there. And now you're like, crap, now we want him, right? And he's like, now
Mhm.
you're gonna have to give him so much money. It's like, I feel like what's not part of the discourse is like, what if that's Dak Prescott is like, F you?
Yeah.
What if he's just like, nah,
I'm done with Dallas,
man,
yeah.
like, this is too much. Like, you made me play this out. I showed you I could do it. I'm gonna go somewhere. What if I do want to go to the Vikings? What if I want to have it's like, yeah, CD Lamb's great, but what if I can have Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson, right.
And it's like, yeah, CD Lamb's great, but there's no way in hell anybody's picking CD. Well, I'm sure there are Cowboys fans, but it's like Justin Jefferson.
There are Cowboys
definitely
fans that
better,
think CD Lamb is
and better coach. I was
gonna say a better overall environment because
Yeah.
the Vikings are run really well
Yeah.
and they don't have. No offense to Jerry Jones, but he's kind of a toxic owner. So
Yeah. You don't have to deal with
kind
that
of on the lead.
nonsense. The owner talking all the time. You don't have to deal, and he's just like, look, you had the chance. You could have signed me. We could have done it.
Yep.
And you didn't do it. And it's like, yeah, you want to throw all this crap ton of money at me now. But no, I don't want to. I don't want to go through this nonsense anymore.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's not like I know Dak Prescott, so I don't know the mentality. He's a pretty calm guy. I mean, we know that.
Mhm.
But it's like, but sometimes you got to think, it's like, you don't know what's going on in that guy's head.
Right.
And it's just like, it seems like a real possibility that it's like, he could be a prideful guy,
Mhm.
got a guy that has some self-worth and could just be like, no, we're not playing this game.
Yeah, and then especially at that point in his career, like I am too old to be dealing with this nonsense over and over and over again.
Yeah. And dealing with the circus that is the Jerry Jones circus is
And even just the Dallas Cowboys in general.
exactly.
Circus.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that's created by Jerry Jones.
Oh, well, that's fair. Yeah.
He's the ringleader of the circus.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's like, it's just like, I think that would be fascinating. Like, what if the Cowboys do go to at least like the NFC championship game, and then they're like, oh, we're offering him a huge deal, $60 million a year, like whatever it is, and then he's just like, nah. Like, even if he took like a tiny bit less, like that would be even funnier. He's like, I'm going to take 57 from this team, from the Vikings.
Just out of spite.
Because that's more worth it to me now. It's almost like he's going like, my mental health is too valuable to me. I'm so sorry.
Right.
Like, I just.
And not only that, like I've already also made my money for my career.
Yeah, and I'm still going to make a shit ton of money.
A ton of money over here.
And it's like, and now I'm going to go with these people who are a lot nicer, and I don't have to deal with the nonsense all the time and always having to worry about everything and like hearing and having to deal with the comments from my owner all the time. Even if they're positive, it's just but why? Why are you always going out there? Why do you always have to say something, Jerry?
Yeah.
You always have something to say. You're like one of the only owners that does this. You need to take that as a sign. There's a reason.
Yeah.
But Yeah. So anyway, that's just like I just wanted to talk about that a tiny bit, just because I feel like that's one part of the discourse is not taking in Dak Prescott's actual side beyond money. What if he's just tired of it? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
what if
I can
he's
see that.
just like, and if he's forced to play the rest of the year, this whole year, no new contract, you know, and they didn't do a lot of other stuff in free agency.
Mhm.
Actually, they did pretty much nothing. And
Yeah,
he's
they're
just like,
pretty much the same
nah,
team. Yeah,
I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So, well, folks, thanks for checking in. This has been quite a draft for
Hmm.
us here. And you can go tell your friends, you know how it's going to. I would not put money down on this, but you can tell
Please
people you
don't do
will.
that.
You can tell
Yeah,
people
don't
you
do
will.
that.
Just but you take this stuff out there, you can sound if you take this to a bar, you know,
You're a genius.
yeah,
Yeah,
have some
really.
Patron with your Michelob
Don't
Ultra.
forget, you need a tall Michelob Ultra
Yeah,
with it,
Michelob
though.
Ultra and Patron.
Yeah,
And you too
can
can
be a
be
draft
a
expert.
draft whiz. Yeah, you know. Here. Mel Kiper, he knows nothing. Let me tell
Nothing.
you.
Well,
All
I
right.
guess. So I guess what we can try to shoot for next Friday after our inevitable first round shakes out.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how they compare.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll see. We'll see how this compares here. Yeah, it could be something. But we'll definitely have to do some sort of
Yeah, we will.
post draft. I don't know if we want to. I mean, I guess we could. Yeah, maybe we could try and put together just post first rounder, first round draft.
Yeah. Or at the very least, we can talk about how our top 16 differed from what actually shook out.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna, and then we've got some other ideas for some other shows once we get to the go back into sort of the slower part again. Yeah, because it
Oh yeah,
still has
yeah,
that little like, oh, it gets really slow. We're talking about the draft, but now it's just like eventually you start talking about it so much, people start getting tired until it gets
yeah,
closer to the
yeah,
draft again, and then it comes back up to be interesting again.
yeah. And then after the draft, it's like
Uh,
NFL dead zone for about
yeah,
3 months
you got the
until.
week after the draft where it's talking about the draft, right?
Oh
You
yeah,
get
yeah.
all the reactions. What does this mean for new team projections?
You
New
see either
power
really happy,
rankings usually come out.
and you see really happy or really pissed off fans about
Yeah,
these
yeah, and
picks.
then people's grades and all of that. But
Yeah,
then,
and all
and then
that.
after that week, then it's sort of, comes back down
Once
again.
we get into May, it's like NFL dead
Yeah,
zone.
so we got some fun ideas for some extra content to talk about things that we hope are interesting things to listen to. Obviously opinion stuff, but it's just
Right, right.
just some
Something to keep us entertained over the summer.
yeah. One thing we're thinking about, and maybe it's good to good to preview stuff. Why not? One thing we're talking about is doing one that Fox had the idea of doing one on like a play or a game that sort of like ruined a team for a while. That was
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah. Mhm.
their
I texted quite a few friends, and I got some really interesting answers.
yeah, and so, like, sort of like, what's kind of ruined teams, even if it's not now, maybe they've gotten past it now, because
Right.
some teams
It
have
was
gotten over it.
the actual idea was what was the most devastating
Yeah,
non Super Bowl loss?
a non-super yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of the premise there, and then, like, yeah, has that had effects on the
Right.
teams
That had ripple effects for
since then?
years on
Yeah,
end.
yeah, where
Yeah.
people are like, "Ugh," obviously, like, so, like, because I don't think it's gonna spoil anything, because the Bills' 13-second, is kind of like the poster child for this now.
Yeah.
The
Right.
Bills
Right.
lost to
One
the
of them.
Chiefs, so
Yeah.
it's not really a big, but it's funny just because the Bills also had a previous one that they never really got over either, right?
Correct.
You
Yeah.
know, but that was Super Bowl related, but
Yeah.
yeah, but the Scott Norwood thing. So it's just kind of that interesting, like these.
There's lots of candidates for the Bills, which we can talk about when we get there. Because you also have the Music City Miracle. You could throw
Yeah,
that one
they've
in there
just never
too.
been. Yeah, that's true. But the Bills. Oh, the Bills. Poor Bills.
We could do an episode on the Bills.
They just kept extending their length of misery with these plays. It's just like they can't get out of it. It's just in a revolving door of this.
Hey, what new way can we break our fans' hearts this time?
Horror after horror for them. All right, folks, but that's going to be it for the Bar Guy Draft.
Bar Guy
Draft. Thanks for tuning in. Share it around for people who want a good laugh, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or share it with somebody who you think might take it seriously.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you also know somebody in your life who also is stupid enough to think that Bo Nix is going fourth overall.
I really love Drake May 1, Bo Nix 4. I mean, we've really
that is
some hot takes.
Yeah.
Hot takes.
Good job, Bar Guys.
Jane and Daniels fall into 11 too. Crazy.
Yeah.
People think he's going in second. All right, but yeah, so tune in. So we'll try and do a first round reaction. We probably could do a whole first round reaction. I mean, we wouldn't have to do necessarily just top 16.
Yeah, because I'd still like to talk about who the 49ers picked and how.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what some of those later teams do.
That too.
Some what kind of picks, especially because also it is possible that somebody again does trade back into the first round to pick a Penix or a Bo Nix.
Yeah.
In the
that's true.
likelihood that they don't actually go where we put them. So tune in next week. Yeah, but that'd be fun. That'd be fun to get in and just get like a quick Friday.
Yeah.
First round reaction pod. So, all right, folks. Thanks again. This has been Brothers Blitz. I'm Jordan. That is.
I am Fox.
Yeah. And tune in next week. Find us on Spotify, YouTube. Should be on iHeartRadio.
Nice.
Tried to do iTunes is being a pain for me, but but thanks everybody, and have a great draft.
Woo! Later.
Take me back into another time when we were still in love, a different life. It's a different life. We held the keys to vehicles, inspired supernatural will and teenage desire. It was quite a flight. I didn't have a light. We need one.
Is that a Death Star t-shirt saying I'm fully operational?
Yep, it is.
That's hilarious.
Yes, it's pretty cute. I just like because he looks so happy. I'm fully operational. It's like I imagine Ralph's voice. Is what I imagine.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm fully operational. Okay, here we go.